What's up, everybody? Matt Gajeski here, back again with the Stochastic channel. Today, we're talking some best ball tiers, running back position. We're going to go through our rankings, compare them to what Underdog has in terms of ADP, and find some players we believe are overvalued. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. Everything we talk about in today's video is free. We have tiers for free, rankings for free, Underdog, DraftKings, Drafters, whatever you play. And we have all kinds of content, analysis for the tiers, draft strategy, whatever you like. It's all free in the link below. All right, some housekeeping stuff. Right now, we have Jahmyr Gibbs as RB13, or ADP as him is 12.9, basically 13 overall. We have him as RB5, excuse me. What does this mean? When we talk about players being overvalued, that doesn't mean we're getting 0% of them in our drafts. For example, Jahmyr Gibbs, explosive second-year player behind the best offensive line in football. I don't want to have 0% Jahmyr Gibbs. What my approach is with a lot of these players we believe are overvalued is to take them when they fall below ADP. So on average, you have to draft 12th overall to get Jahmyr Gibbs because he's going at 13. When I'm drafting at, say, 9 or 10 and he falls to 15 or 16 in ADP, that's when I'm scooping up Jahmyr Gibbs. So that way I'm not just completely dead in the water if Jahmyr Gibbs has an awesome year when David Montgomery gets hurt. But I'm also someone that can benefit if this goes according to plan and these two share a backfield for the entire season. So I already talked a little bit about the reasoning here. Jahmyr Gibbs is in a split backfield, and that is not changing outside of injury. David Montgomery played a massive role in this offense, and he's going to do so again. A couple scary things that are going to work in his favor. The best offensive line in football, according to PFF. That's awesome. This team is a philosophy to run the ball as much as they can. That's awesome for Gibbs. The biggest problem is he is going ahead of players like Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, who have better situations. Jahmyr Gibbs only touched the ball 15.5 times per game. That was in a split backfield with David Montgomery. He did handle some high-value touches. 52 targets in 15 games is good, but not all high-value touches. On the goal line, Montgomery out-touched Gibbs 17-8. So you don't have as much scoring potential for Jahmyr Gibbs here. You also are working with Jared Goff under center, who's had an awesome 2 seasons, but doesn't have the best history of being an elite passer. And 10.5 win total is good. They exceeded that last year. But the Lions are just as likely to finish under this than ahead of this. So to me, it comes down to preference. Do you prefer drafting Marvin Harrison, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Stephon Diggs? Or would you rather have some combination of Marvin Harrison, a Garrett Wilson, and a Travis Etienne? For me, it's the latter. And again, not drafting 0 Gibbs, just coming in underweight to the field. Our second player is going to be Devon Achane as soon as he comes up on the screen. I'll tell you right now, from having to re-film this video, his ADP is 24. We have him as RB7 overall. It's a lot of the same stuff as with Jahmyr Gibbs. You're betting on efficiency if you're drafting him ahead of ADP, and that's not guaranteed. This is a backfield that is split with Raheem Mostert. They drafted Jalen Wright in the 3rd round, and they haven't let go of Jeff Wilson. So there is a chance that maybe we don't even see a full-time workload for Devon Achane, and it's not likely, honestly. So when you look at what happened last year, he was the best running back in the league efficiency-wise. First in yards after contact per attempt on just 12 touches per game. Broke basically like record-breaking efficiency, 7.8 yards per carry. But they're not going to use him in a bell cow role no matter what. With Gibbs, you have the chance that Montgomery gets hurt. With Achane, if Mostert gets hurt, boom, here comes Jalen Wright. Here comes Jeff Wilson. Under no circumstance is Devon Achane handling an extreme workload outside of maybe like a playoff game where Mostert's hurt. No chance. And this is borne out in their props. Devon Achane 724.5 yards. Mostert 699.5 yards. That's 25-yard difference. In their props, sportsbooks are listing that. 6.5 touchdowns for Achane, Mostert at 7.5. What this tells me, 2 guys that are projected at basically identical clips, why are we drafting Achane so high and why are we drafting Raheem Mostert so late? Some of you will say injuries. I don't think that matters too much. In the short time Achane's been in the NFL, he's been injured just as often as Raheem Mostert. So I think they're both just as likely there. Both players good at catching the ball. Mostert apparently a little more likely to score touchdowns. So to me, I'll draft Achane when he falls below this 24 ADP, but my approach to the Miami backfield is to soak up shares of Raheem Mostert, who is projected for essentially the same across sports books, but it's not being accounted for in the projections and the rankings. Going to our third back, I clicked this about a minute ago, so we'll see when it finally loads. This only happens when I start the videos, so I'm not sure why this is the case, but the next player on the list is going to be Tony Pollard. So he's going 98th overall, the RB 34 in our rankings. So we're below ADP on Pollard. We're ahead of ADP on Tyjae Spears, and that's the main reason. Pollard comes off a woefully inefficient 2023 after a hyper-efficient 2022. A lot of people just believe he wilted under the increased workload, which I tend to agree with. Did break 1,000 yards, but he was 28th in yards after contact per attempt, 12th in forced missed tackles. That was on 18.1 touches per game. That almost certainly is going to fall this year. You look at what Tennessee has. Battle line and Will Levis under center. So probably throwing to the running back a little more. You just don't have a lot of time to get the ball out of your quarterback's hands. That's where Tyjae Spears excels. This is a player that ran Derrick Henry off the field on third downs last year, and that's not going to change. This is one of the most efficient backs in the NFL, 11th in yards after contact per attempt, already has an awesome pass-catching profile. He handles the more valuable work compared to Pollard. The only problem is he's 194 pounds, so probably not the most likely to handle a full workload. So I don't think this is a situation where Spears ices Pollard or anything like that. It's probably a split backfield, but I do think it's a split backfield in favor of Spears, who handles the more valuable touches compared to what Tony Pollard has shown. And that's considering Tony Pollard catching 55 balls last year. Just horrible inefficiency from Tony Pollard across the board. So we'll take bets on Tyjae Spears as the younger, more spry, more explosive back in this offense compared to what we've seen from Tony Pollard. All right, and our last one is going to be Trey Benson when he comes up on the screen. I haven't recorded this part of the video yet because we keep having lagging issues, but I know Trey Benson is going much higher than where we currently have him ranked. So the crux of this argument is Arizona's win total is 6.5. Are we really betting on two running backs finishing inside the top 100 from a team that is a bottom 5 team in the NFL according to sportsbooks projections? Yeah, they could finish better than this. Some of you will probably argue with me that they will, but they're just as likely to finish below 6.5 as they are above it. So this is a big problem, not just for Trey Benson, but for Arizona's offense as a whole. And when we look at this team, James Conner's still there. James Conner, despite what people may tell you, he had probably the best season of his career last year in a woeful situation. He was 3rd in more forced missed tackles. He was 2nd in yards after contact per attempt, behind only yours truly, Devin Achane. He was behind only Devin Achane in efficiency. Now, the Cardinals have a bad offensive line that's not changed from last year. They're 26th. And yeah, Benson comes in, but people are anointing like Trey Benson as the next Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott. This is a 3rd-round pick, the 66th pick overall, which guarantees him nothing. He never carried more than 156 times in college, and he suffered a severe injury. Now, I will say Benson is explosive. That is something Conner's lacked. But Conner, again, 3rd in forced missed tackles, 2nd in yards after contact per attempt, behind Achane. It's pretty damn explosive. People think Conner's injury prone, but he's actually never failed to play any less than 10 games in the season. That happened once. He's played at least 13 in every other season of his career, and he's still only 29 years old. The guy's not even 30. If he stays healthy, which he's done all through his career, James Conner is not ceding a major workload to Trey Benson. Maybe he'll see change of pace touches, and maybe that helps him play a full season. But this is not a situation where we should be drafting Trey Benson at 108 overall. We have him significantly below ADP at RB34. And again, this is projection-based. You do not see two running backs with a win total of 6.5 finishing both in the top 100. Now, Benson's outside that, but it's pretty damn close. We'll fade Trey Benson this year, take more James Conner. Again, last thing, still taking some Trey Benson. He just needs to be well below ADP, which does happen enough. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments what you'd like for best ball. We'll be back with some receivers next time. If you'd like to follow on Twitter, I'm at Matt_Gajeski. Until then, we'll see you guys later, and good luck.